Hi, this is Katie with SJCPL, here today to give you a tour of my home bookshelf and specifically to talk about one of my favorite collections of books, which is Newbery Honor and Medal winners. The Newbery Award is a very well-known children's literature award. It's awarded every year. And unbeknownst to me, when I was growing up, one of my early elementary teachers based a lot of her literature lesson plans on the Newbery list. So I grew up reading fantastic literature, and when I, as an adult, discovered how many of the titles that I read in her class were on the Newbery list, I got really excited about reading more of them. I started collecting them, love to have them at home. I have been collecting them for about 15 years. Recommend them widely to my kids and friends. They're just great reads. I'm going to start off by telling you about a couple of them. The first one is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle, which is a bit of a sci-fi fantasy mashup. I absolutely adore this book, and Meg Murray and her brother Charles Wallace and her friend Calvin. I liked this book so much that I have read the entire series and then everything else that I could get my hands on by Madeleine L'Engle. I, as a writer, really appreciate L'Engle's unique worldview, and I love her world building and her real, complicated, gritty characters who you can really get into their emotions and understand what they're feeling and why they're feeling that way. The next one I want to talk about is a bit of a switch up in genre. This is a mystery, The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. Growing up, I just really appreciated the complexity of this story. It's about a girl named Turtle and this odd assortment of unique, strange characters who are all connected somehow to a man named Sam Westing, who has died and left behind kind of a mystery and a large fortune. And so reading this as a young person, I found it very funny. There's a lot going on. It's a bit of a whodunit, and so it was a really enjoyable read. The last one I want to talk to you about today is Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt. This is kind of a mashup again between historical fiction and fantasy. It's about a girl who finds a family in the forest who have drunk from the fountain of youth, and she has to come to a decision herself about whether that is something that she wants to do. If she would like to stay with this family who she's now connected to forever, and dealing with the problems that perpetual life brings, or if she would like to have a natural death eventually. And part of what I love about these Newbery books, and that I have also found in other Newbery books that I have read through the years, I've read dozens at this point, they may all be from different genres. As I mentioned, you've got some historical fiction, you've got some mystery, you've got sci-fi fantasy. This year, a graphic novel won the Newbery for the first time. So it's often a different genre. It's a little bit of a toss-up. You never know what this year's winner is going to be. There's no, oh, it's a fantasy, it's your sure winner. There's none of that. So each year's title is a little bit different from the last year's, or sometimes very different. But the one thing that holds all of the books together is consistent excellence. I have rarely had a bad read with the Newbery. I often like to go into the honor books as well, because sometimes I will even like the honor books for a year better than the medal winner, but I have rarely had a bad experience with these books. I recommend them to all my family and friends and love sharing them with my kids. So hope that you found some interesting books to read today. Happy reading.